Am I the a whole for not wanting to provide anything for my children's half-siblings? I, 30M, have two amazing kids, a 12-year-old daughter and an 11-year-old son, from a previous relationship. Their mom and I separated years ago, and to call our breakup messy would be putting it mildly. It was a full-scale emotional battlefield. At this point, we only communicate via a parenting app and avoid direct contact. When we exchange custody, we don't speak. The kids go from one car to the other like parcels, and we barely acknowledge each other's presence. The effort to keep things civil for the kids is just that, an effort. Since we split, she's had 4 more children. One is a 9-year-old son from a short-term relationship, and the other 3, ages 6F, 4F, and 2M, are with her husband. So now, her household consists of 6 kids total, but only 2 of them are mine. I've made it clear from day one, I have no responsibility, legal or moral, to care for the other 4. I don't see them. I don't interact with them. I've never bought them anything, and my kids have never asked me to. For all intents and purposes, they are strangers to me. But apparently, that isn't good enough, not for my ex's parents. Here's where it starts getting murky. Even after the breakup, my ex's parents kept in touch. I tolerated it for the kids' sake, thinking maybe it would help to have someone in the extended family who wasn't actively hostile. But over time, it became clear they had expectations, unspoken at first, then very, very spoken. When their daughter's now 9-year-old son was born, a child from another man who bailed almost immediately, they made it clear that they hoped I would take on some kind of surrogate dad role. They couched it in phrases like he could really use a male figure in his life, or you're already part of the family. I shut that idea down without making a scene. I figured if I ignore it long enough, they'll get the message. Spoiler alert, they didn't. They began oversharing details about my ex's household. I told them repeatedly, if it's not about my children, I don't need or want to hear it. But they'd still let things slip, mostly about how poorly the 9-year-old was being treated. Apparently, their daughter's husband doesn't acknowledge the boy. He's the odd one out, emotionally sidelined in his own home. It's a sad situation, but it's not mine to fix. I go above and beyond for my own children. They never want for essentials, and I try to give them some extras when I can. Fun trips, birthday parties, books they actually want to read, clothes that fit and feel good. My ex does what she can, but it's clear she's struggling financially. I don't blame her for that. Life is expensive, and 6 kids are a lot. But I also don't think that should become my burden. Last year, she asked me to buy extra school supplies for our kids, but added that she wanted to share them among the school-aged children. I shut it down immediately. I told her point blank, I am not responsible for the family you created after we split. You and your husband are responsible for your household. I take care of mine. It wasn't hostile. It was firm. It was a boundary. Since then, her parents have doubled down hard. They've started guilting me, telling me that I'm setting a bad example for my kids, that my children should want to help their siblings, that they're growing up selfish because I'm teaching them not to care about anyone outside their bubble. They've even gone as far as asking my children directly if they'd be willing to talk to me about getting extra things to share with their half-siblings. Thankfully, my kids have a good head on their shoulders and told them no, clearly and respectfully. But when I found out about it, I was livid. Not just because they crossed a major boundary by involving my kids in adult issues, but because they tried to plant guilt in them. I confronted them. Their response? The kids should be asking. They should care. It's sad that they don't. That's on you. They said I'm raising them to be cold, that I'm teaching them that family is conditional, that I'm letting innocent children suffer because of my resentment over a failed relationship. The last straw was at my daughter's school play. Her grandparents pulled me aside afterward to say how disappointed they were in me, that they expected better from the father of their first grandchildren, that I'm less of a man for turning my back on children who need help, even if they aren't mine. I walked away. I didn't cause a scene, but their words stuck in my head. And now here I am, writing this, asking strangers on the internet if maybe they're right. Because here's the truth. I didn't ask for this situation. I didn't choose to bring 6 kids into the world. I chose to. And I'm doing everything I can, often more than I should, to make sure those 2 are happy, healthy, and loved. I know the 9-year-old is in a rough spot. I do feel for him. But where do I draw the line? If I buy him school supplies, does that make me the bad guy when I don't buy for the other 3? If I start helping with their household's needs, how long before I'm expected to be the emergency backup for everything? And maybe most importantly, what message does it send my kids if I constantly overextend myself for a household I'm not part of while barely keeping our own afloat? I'm not angry. I'm just exhausted. Tired of being the reliable one, the one who should step up. Tired of being told that love means self-sacrifice, even when it comes from people who gave up on us long ago. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to provide for my kids' half-siblings? Even the ones who didn't ask to be born into a tough situation? Even the ones I know deserve more? Because my answer so far has been, it's not my job. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not about jobs. Maybe it's about compassion. Or maybe, just maybe, it's about finally drawing a line and not being shamed for it.